Hello, this is Josh Patel back again with another biology lesson. Today we're going to be doing chapter 31, which is all about the immune system and diseases. And so we're getting close to the end of the biology course. There's only 34 chapters. And so these last couple chapters, like the last two chapters we did, were all about the human system. So that's basically what the last chapters are. So a key concept is germs cause many diseases in humans. Germ theory states that microscopic particles cause certain diseases. Germ theory proposed that microorganisms, which are small particles, not spirits, cause diseases. And this was proposed by Louis Pasteur, which you don't need to know who it's proposed by, and it led to rapid advances in understanding diseases. So in ancient times, people thought it was spirits that led to illnesses, and that it was all these superstitious ideas. But as once we got into science and people discovered these microscopic organisms, so Koch postulates support the theory. So disease-causing particles are called pathogens. So as we learned, pathogens is anything that can cause an illness. There are different types of pathogens. So there's bacteria or single-celled organisms cause, cause illnesses by destroying cells and release toxic chemicals. We have viruses, which are genetic material surrounded by a protein coat, which force the host cell to make more viruses, and they're very small. And then we have fungi, which can be multicellular or single cellular, and take nutrients from host cells. So they basically absorb nutrients from one thing to help it grow. Occurs in warm, damp places. And then we have protozoa, which are single-celled organisms, and they used host cells to complete their life cycle, take nutrients from the host cell, so they basically live inside something. Parasites, which are multicellular, they grow and feed on a host, possibly kill the host. So it's just another thing that grows off something else. So different pathogens cause common infectious diseases. So these are just diseases and showing what to call, like HIV is a virus. Most of these are viruses. There's tuberculosis is a bacteria. Pathogens can enter the body and be separated in different ways, or spread in different ways. Pathogens can be transferred by direct or indirect contact. Indirect contact does not require touching an infected individual, so it could come through the air, or touching an infected surface, breathing, inhaling infected air. So, vectors carry a pathogen and transmit into a healthy cell. So, direct contact requires touching an infected individual. So, this includes kissing, sexual intercourse, handling, handshaking. So, 31.2 Immune systems. The immune system consists of organs, cells, and molecules that fight infections. So many body systems protect you from pathogens. The immune system is the body system that fights off infections and pathogens. So many other tissues and systems help the immune system. So skin is a physical barrier to infection, so it physically keeps out things. Mucous membrane is which helps trap pathogens entering the body, so mucus we have. The circulatory system transports immune cells, so white blood cells. Cells and proteins fight the body's infection. White blood cells attack infections inside the body. Phagocytes, a cell that can engulf and destroy pathogens. T cells destroy infected cells, and these cells we do have to know. So phagocytes surround and engulf and destroy the pathogen. T cells destroy infected cells, so body cells that are already infected, this T cells basically kills them. B cells produce antibodies, and as we know, antibodies are these things that help fight against the disease or virus. So we don't need to know the name though. So three types of proteins fight off invading pathogens. Complement proteins weaken pathogen membranes. Antibodies make pathogens infected, or make them ineffective, so they basically fight against it. And interferons prevent viruses from infecting healthy cells. So immunity prevents a person from getting sick from a pathogen. In all immunity, pathogens are destroyed before you get sick. Passive immunity occurs without an immune response. So, mother's milk, genetics, this is where you get it from. Active immunity occurs after a specific immune response. So, both active and passive immunity prevent future illnesses if the body becomes infected. So, active would be if once you get like maybe a flu shot, you have a piece of the germ in your body fought off a part of it before earlier, so it has antibodies to defend off of it. So that would be like active immunity. 31.3 Immune responses. The immune system has many responses to pathogens and foreign cells. Many body systems work to produce nonspecific responses. So nonspecific responses are the same for every pathogen. In inflammation, blood vessels become leaky, like swelling, so no matter what it is, it does the same thing to try to fight it. White blood cells move towards infection and damaged tissue. So characterized by swelling, redness, and pain. Example, fever, inflammation. In fever, body temperature increases. Low fever stimulates white blood cells to mature. So high fever can cause seizure, brain damage, and even death. Cells of the immune system produce specific responses. So specific immune responses begin with the detection of antigens. So detect. Antigens are surrounded proteins on pathogens. Each pathogen has a different antigen. Specific immune responses produce immunity. So depending on if you already had that sickness before, you would be better likely to fight against it using your specific immune system or immune responses. So there are two specific immune responses. They include cellular immunity, uses T cells to destroy infected body cells, and then humoral immunity uses B cells to produce antibodies that give immunity. But you don't have to remember the name, you just need to know what it is. Both response for produce memory cells. So we have a T cell and we have a B cell. Specialized T and B cells provide acquired active immunity. The immune system rejects foreign tissue. So, okay, it didn't tell us what memory cells were. Memory cells are basically cells, they basically are what they are. So they remember what happened, what disease you had, and so it's easier to fight against it next time. So it rejects foreign tissues. Tissue rejection occurs in an organ or tissue transplant. Tissue rejection is the result of an immune response. Immune system detects protein marked on the donor tissue, makes antibodies against the donor tissue. So 31.4, immunity and technology. Living in a clean environment and building immunity help keep a person healthy. So many methods are used to control pathogens. Antibiotics and antiseptics cause pathogens to burst. So antiseptics, which kill pathogens outside of the body, do not target specific pathogens. Examples include vinegar and soap. So antibiotics kill pathogens inside the body. So target one specific bacterium or fungus. Not effective against viruses. So vaccine, give to a person to prevent an illness. So it doesn't fight it, it just helps prevent it. Artificial immunity. Antibiotics resist. So okay, here. So the difference between viruses and bacteria is vaccines you can't like take a medicine to help fight off the common cold. Once you get the cold, your body just has to naturally get over it, or the flu. You can't take medicine to fight against it. But if you have a different type of illness from a bacteria, you can take medicine to fight against it. To fight against viruses, the only thing you can do is take vaccines prior or beforehand. So antibiotic resistance can cause medicines to become ineffective. So if you take too much of one thing, you're going to tolerate it and you're going to need more or something stronger. Some bacteria in a population have genes that make them immune to antibiotics. These bacteria spread the gene, making the antibiotic useless. So just like how things evolve, bacteria evolve too. So the ones that can survive this antibacteria will live on and pass on their genes. So then eventually this antibiotic becomes useless and we have to develop another one. So vaccines artificially produce acquired immunity. Vaccines also control pathogens and disease give to prevent illnesses, contain the antigen of a weak pathogen. So they basically you get a weakened pathogen in your body that your body can easily fight. So vaccination provides immunity. So it stimulates a specific immune response. So memory B cell antigens in a vaccine trigger an immune response, and the memory B cells are made. So causes memory cells to be produced. So a memory B cell is stimulated when the real pathogen binds to it, and then this effect allows immunity system to respond quickly to the infection. So the memory cells come, and then the B cells produce the antibiotics that can fight against it, or antibodies that fight against it. The B cell quickly activates and makes antibodies that fight the pathogen before you get sick. So such a fast response, a person will not get sick. So this occurs if you have a vaccine, if you got like a flu vaccine before. So an overactive immune system can make the body very unhealthy. So allergies occur when the immune system responds to harmless antigens. So this is overreactions in the immune system. So if your body, so usually allergies, as we know, are stimulus responding or our body responding to things that aren't harmful. Like peanuts, they're not going to kill you, but some people are allergic to them. So that's kind of strange. Why are people allergic to non-harmful things? So an allergy is a response to a harmless antigen. Allergies are caused by allergens, and allergens are antigens that cause an allergic reaction. They are proteins on the surface of particles that do not cause diseases. They don't cause diseases, they just cause reactions to harmless antigens. Allergens cause inflammation responses. So there are many different types of allergens. So like some examples with food would be peanuts, milk, and wheat. And then there are like airborne pollen, dust mites, and mold. There's chemical like nickel medicine, bee stings, etc. So there are many different types of these. Allergens can cause anaphylaxis, and so this is an extreme inflammation response. Blood vessels and airways become too porous. If not treated immediately, anaphylaxis can cause death. So that last slide you didn't need to know really. In autoimmune disease, white blood cells attack the body's healthy cells. So autoimmune diseases are failures of the immune system. White blood cells cannot recognize healthy cells. White blood cells attack healthy body cells. Tissue fail because of attack. So basically, your white blood cells are trying to kill these healthy cells that don't need killing. Instead, they're supposed to kill the ones that are infected and that are going to die anyway. But they instead kill healthy cells, and this causes tissue to fail because of the cells dying, and it just leads to a disaster. There are over 60 autoimmune diseases. So that's the end of the immune system and disease, which is chapter 31. And please join us next time on chapter 32.